Welcome to Mic Check Waifu Waifu.
Mic check, waifu. Ma, tell him, is that you?
Polow, is that you?
This is episode 218 of Mic Check Waifu. As always, is brought to you by Patreon. Shout out to our Patreon producers. Oh shit! Shout out to our Patreon producers. That shocked me because we got a new one. Or am I tripping? No, I'm not tripping. We definitely got a new Patreon producer. It's Shanti. Shanti, Thank you so much for producing this. Am I tripping? No, I'm not tripping. It's today. Yeah, it was just today, this morning. Thank you so much, Shanti, for producing this episode. That means a whole hell of a lot to us, to be honest.
Welcome back.
J. Lee Trey, Kent the Pro, both from Shogo High and Chaotic Culture. Explicitly, Monique Williams, Nachi, and Saphir. Thank y'all so much for producing this and many other episodes of the podcast. And again, shout out to you, Shanti, for coming back and producing this month. We truly appreciate you. It means the world to us. Thank you so very much. Make sure you go to patreon.com/miccheckwaifu to get early access to the video version of the podcast, to get access to our conversational podcast, The After Story, which is some of our favorite content that we do, honestly, because it's truly special conversations that we have over there. It's conversation that you would like is nowhere near in the echelon or realm of anime. Sometimes it's video games, sometimes it's philosophy, sometimes it's fucking just random shit. It's a good time. So make sure if you want to support us for just $1 or above, get access to that over on patreon.com/miccheckwaifu. Also, my review for the irregular at Magic High School, that's coming soon. I'm still working on that. I've been watching, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later in the show, just a bunch of old stuff and rewatching it just so I can do more stuff like that, more individual reviews just for Patreon, strictly for Patreon, over there for you guys. So the content is coming. Yeah, this is Mic Check Waifu. We're brought to you every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. CT. We bring you anime conversation on seasonal anime, topics from those seasonal anime, as well as just, anime in general. Tell, how you feel?
Man, I feel good, bro. Today, very chill day. Polow doesn't have school tomorrow. So
Labor Day?
Yeah.
Day.
So we got him to sleep like he was going to school. So it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
So you got all night.
Basically, I got
early night, I should say.
Early night. But yeah, bro, I'm feeling good. I got into a beta for a game I want to play.
Talk to me.
It's called The Front. And I blame you and Neb because it's like 7 Days to Die, but expanded. So I'll be playing that. I'll be playing that a little bit, but also obviously Starfield I'll be playing this week too.
Oh yeah, it's three more days when it comes out for everybody else. Technically too.
I feel like I'm already losing my soul to the game as soon as it comes out because I'm ecstatic.
Oh my goodness. Me, on the other hand, you already know I lost my soul to the game because you pay $100, you get to pay 5 days early or whatever, and I definitely did that because it's a BGS game, a Bethesda game, and when I tell you, it came out technically on the 31st at 8 p.m. It's now September 3rd. I'm at 41 hours of gameplay. How the fuck did I play 41 hours of this game? but I did. I played 41 hours of this game in a matter of 3 days. I got bags under my eyes. I'm a fucking nerd. I feel ashamed of myself, but
I'm not ashamed of you. I still love you.
I still managed to get workouts in. So I feel good about that. I can't stop thinking about this game. Now, I'm gonna talk about it more on the after story episode. We didn't record an after story this week because I was clearly, there was no way I was gonna be able to, but we definitely gonna record one for you this week. It's gonna episode 67 is gonna revolve around Starfield and the details, feelings that I have about this game, as well as some other stuff I wanted to talk about in the after story because I got a lot of shit on my mind, you know, a lot of stuff on my mind I want to get off my chest over on the after story. I am considering releasing a few episodes for free, maybe one or two, just to give people a little taste, a little dip. Dip on like chip. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. Or I might just not and just leave it there forever. All right,
just drop it on YouTube for them.
Because I do have the video files. I definitely don't. I got a couple of them. Got a couple of episode video files because we don't post a video because it's just better because on Spotify, when you connect your Patreon to your Spotify, you just get access to the entire feed. So it's just so smooth and seamless now that it's like no real point in me posting a video because don't nobody go on Patreon to watch the videos. And those aren't uploaded to YouTube. Those are just exclusively uploaded to Patreon. So we'll figure something out. We'll figure something out with that. A little sauce behind, be a little behind the scenes of the how the sauce get made. Anyway, where are we gonna start here?
Okay, it's the first week of the month, and so y'all already know what we already know. We're talking about My Traumatic Comedy later.
Yeah, it's in the second half, like not the second half of the show, but later.
Let's do episode of the week.
All right, I'll start then.
Oh goodness!
I'm glad you asked, Montel. My episode of the week this week, easily Jobless Reincarnation. Reason being, now this isn't. Now let me talk about a little bit of this. We're gonna talk about Jobless Reincarnation in the spoiler talk, but it was something that this episode that was so special. Okay, so fucking special. And what it did was how it seamlessly integrated in the fact that obviously in this world we're speaking a language that is not of our known language, you know, vernacular.
It's not native to that world.
It's not native. Yeah, it's not native to this world. So this whole time we've been speaking. So out of relativity, we've been speaking this language that doesn't exist in Japan or America or whatever, right? They seamlessly wove that into this episode. It was just so clean, very impressive, because they started speaking like after I'm gonna save it for the spoiler talk, but it was just the way that seamlessly was woven into this episode was brilliant. And that alone for me it just goes to show how it's so it does attention to detail so well that I can't not love this show. And the reason why I say that is because it reminds me of Overlord. The attention to detail in Overlord, even though that's a more of a satire-y show, there's still so much depth within the world of this anime. Like we talk about this all the time, and we say this a lot. And like the most important pillars of an anime for it to be good, right? And it always starts off with characters for us. Then second is always the world, right? Like if the world is trash but the characters are good, you can still manage to salvage the show. But if both the characters and the world is bad, then it's a bad show.
Yeah, entirely.
Or the characters are bad and the world is good, it still could be a bad show. So it's just we talk about those pillars all the time, but this world building is fucking so immaculate that it, in a way, it complements the characters. It's perfect. It's just perfect. It's perfect. I love it. Sorry to go on that tangent. I'm gonna let Tail go with his episode of the week.
No, that was beautiful because that's exactly how I feel, and I'm glad you chose that. My episode of the week will be Rent a Girlfriend because it gave us so much that we finally needed, which is also gave us some sadness too. But a beautiful episode. It really finally touched on some points that we really needed to be touched on, and it kind of hit us with some stuff that we did not predict in our gut check previously. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it brings a little fear in me on how the season's gonna end.
Yeah, I feel progression though still within the season, which is like
it is definitely still progress, but it's almost like, and hear me out, when we probably won't talk about this in spoiler talk, but it almost feels like forced progress, not by the author specifically, but because of the situation they in. It's almost like it's an ultimatum at this point. But yeah, love this episode. It was all the fire that we needed for this slice of life specifically.
Unbelievably brilliant, right? Like it was just brilliant. Dude, I can't wait to I think we should, because we don't really have much else as far as spoiler talk goes. So Jobless Reincarnation and Rent a Girlfriend is probably the only two we could take to spoiler talk this week because of delays, and that's something I want to talk about a little bit later too. But let's get into this. Now, I rewatched a show recently.
All right.
That I had again, I'm trying to, for Crystal's sake and for my sake, for my mental, I've been trying to clear out my currently watching anime. So again, when you pull up AniList, I'm gonna put this on Tail's face if you're watching the video version of this podcast. So everybody that's watching the video version can see it. When you pull up AniList, there's a section down at the bottom here. I'm gonna scroll down. Sorry, podcast listeners, but this is a very poignant point that I'm trying to make. When you scroll down here, you see Anime in Progress, right? It's actually on Tail's side. Let me move it down here. Yeah, Anime in Progress. I had this Hanagai next in my Anime in Progress for about 2 years. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to slowly clean out this list of Anime in Progress to get that completely cleaned out, so then I can go back to my pause section in my AniList and figure out what I want to put into watching and just kind of clean up my list a bit. Since this season hasn't been very demanding of me, to be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a lot of stuff I put on hold to just binge later. There's a lot of stuff I got coming up that I'm about to binge soon, like My Happy Marriage and etc. So all that stuff is coming up on my binge list soon. But I've been taking this time where I haven't been watching a bunch of week to week stuff to go through my old backlog and kind of rewatch stuff. Like, so Irregular Magic High School was first. That was the first thing I cleared off my list. I had on my list for years, and I was just about done with it, but I restarted the whole thing and watched both season 1 and season 2. So, and Crystal told me to watch the OVA that kind of explains their sister relationship, but that's not dubbed. And I don't have the calories to burn watching that shit and trying to follow that dialogue, because it's going to take me like, I think it's an hour long. It's going to take me like 3 hours to watch it. Mm-hmm. Just because I don't want to miss the paragraphs and paragraphs that they spout in that show. But I digress. So it started off with the regular Magic High School, and then it went to Hanagai, which is a comedy, romance, ecchi, slice of life show that I've watched years ago, back in my the site that shall not be named days, when I was just kind of going through and finding slice of life. And I don't remember shit that happened. So before I go to the second season, which is called Next, I decided to rewatch the whole thing. So after rewatching that, the thing with the older shows that's like this, the satire-y, like romantic comedy, ecchi shows, is that I watched it dubbed too. It has a nice dub. Nice, not really nice, but okay dub. They don't really hold up as well when you've seen so much more, like, just better things, right? Like the jokes are kind of
middling.
No, and this is not me being like, super woke or whatever you want to call it, but they're very harsh, I guess, if you will. Like, they say a bunch of mean shit. In particular, one character is kind of like a fucking bully who's supposed to be like one of the main characters that you root for in this romance situation. It's not good, man. It's a good show per se, but it's just like, I'm watching it and I'm kind of like, oof. In 2023, that's not gonna be. It's not PC at all. You know, it's like, it's just, I don't know. It's even bothering me. Somebody who's not bothered by that stuff, it's bothering me. Like, damn, like it's bugging me a bit. And it's mostly because of the bullying that goes on in a particular show. For somebody who you're supposed to like, who you just can't like. And it's kind of annoying, but I'm gonna finish season 2 this week. I am looking forward to going to it just because it's fun outside of the bullying, but I don't know. I'm kind of liking it though. Still, it's smut basically.
I feel like you've been over the bullying for a while though, in some of this anime.
100%. And I don't remember feeling like this when I first watched it. Like I was like, I enjoyed it. But now it's like, oh, this is kind of rough.
Yeah. And hear me out. I can entirely imagine that because it's not particularly my cup of tea either, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, at this point, we're looking for a little bit more adult themed interest in our slice of life, especially me, because I'd already gotten a taste of this slice of life, and my taste is upgrading. And I'm gonna say something about that when we get to the My Teen Romantic Comedy conversation, because we finally wrapped up, like I said, that third season. Yeah, and man, obviously it's a goated slice of life, but it actually brought some revelations to my eyes, because it made me kind of miss shows like what is it? More Than a Married Couple But Not Lovers. You know what I mean? Like it's still got like that childish aspect to it of not knowing, but I almost kind of like, man, with all the and I know we've said it before, but with all the certainty we had with things like A Galaxy Next Door, that I kind of miss a little bit of the uncertainty that we get in from like My Teen Romantic Comedy and some of the others. So yeah, maybe we'll go with something like that with less bullying.
And it's because of My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu that I've been diving into these old slice of life as well. That it's just making me want to do like maybe next, if you okay with it, man. Let me see. Maybe we watch one together after My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu, and I'm gonna leave this. I'm just throwing this out there now. But maybe we pull up something like a Golden Time, and do a old school mic check waifu review on it. Yeah. Eventually, it doesn't have to be right away, obviously, but
I mean, it could be time to throw in a mix in a review that not everyone's waiting for.
Yeah, it's Golden Time came out in 2013. It's 24 episodes. It's a beefy kind of show, but I mean, we can worry about that later down the road. But just throwing on like just a random slice of life to do a review, a mic check waifu review on. Or we could just review something else because we got time. But sure, looking at it, I will say that I think what would you say, like 2 weeks from now, maybe we do the fall preview.
Yeah, we can do that in 2 weeks, because then I think a lot of the new stuff will have the date set for it as well. Yeah, there is some stuff that I think Fully Cooley Grunge is starting like tomorrow, but then everything else is like 25 days away. So yeah, so that'll be probably best we wait.
So that'll be the September 19th episode where we do the fall preview. Now remember, we also are doing a live episode on the 26th or 24th on Sunday on our YouTube. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube at youtube.com/@miccheck-waifu. We're going to do a live. I don't know what that live episode is going to be, but we could do the preview for that.
Oh, hit the preview live?
Yeah, hit the preview live and give people sleepers and stuff then.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's it. That's the play. You heard it here first. So the 24th on our end of the month wrap up episode, we are going to do the anime preview season episode, that live episode. So we're going to get y'all sleepers live. So come through the YouTube channel. That's the move.
That's the move for sure. I agree.
That's the move. So we still gonna ask for people off of Twitter too, just in case people can't make the live, because I know we record like pretty late on a Sunday, which is typically not typical because people have jobs. But But that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do that then, which is gonna be perfect. But getting into you watch anything this week? Anything new?
Oh, okay. One Piece.
Oh shit. The entire internet was probably like, yo, I gotta listen on Mic Check Waifu to hear him talk about the One Piece live action show that I did not watch. I'm gonna just keep it real with you. I forgot it came out because of Starfield.
So
you watched it?
I didn't complete it yet. I watched up until after you stopped, which I think is 4 episodes.
Okay, so time out before you start. The general consensus is positive.
Yes.
Now,
what they got to do with me?
I was just about to ask. Now, is Tell positive? Because we don't really go again with the people. Usually, it's kind of against the grain, which is kind of to our detriment a lot of times. But I just gotta. What's your general thoughts? Don't give me any details. General thoughts, because I am going to pick it up.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it for you. But the characters fit. Some of the camera angles fit. Like it, I feel like, and I said this to my wife, that they did a really good job of capturing specific panels in like a live action perspective. So some of it actually does look really good. But don't go in expecting animated One Piece. Go in expecting live action dramatized One Piece, if that makes sense. Because
okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm not saying it's bad for what it does, because I think that it actually is. It's better than I expected. If that makes anybody feel better, because I wasn't expecting a lot, but it is better than I expected. But you got to look at it more theatrical standpoint rather than this is anime. Except for Luffy, you look at Luffy like it's an anime, but everybody else is just more theatrical. So
I'm going to say this: there is some things I just seen bits and pieces of it, right?
Oh goodness.
And the one
part thing, everybody raving about.
I don't dude. I haven't been on social media all fucking week, so I have no idea what anybody's talking about. I just heard on like YouTube. I scrolled through a YouTube video and clicked like the first 3 seconds of it. And they're like, my general consensus is that it's good. It's a good live action. One person said it was terrible. It was Fox and Anime. He said it was absolutely garbage. And he showed a couple of scenes, and what he showed made me like, I feel you. He said, for one, there was 2 things that he said. One, everything is too clean. Like the world is too clean. If it's pirates, why is everything so fucking? Everything looks like a set because it's so clean. Yes. There's no dirt going around anywhere on anybody. So that's one thing that I did when he showed that. I was like, yeah, this shit looks weird. Okay, that's
actually the first thing my wife picked up on. She said, "These supposed to be pirates, right?" And I said, "Yeah."
And 2, it's when you do the different colored hair, in order to not make it look so unnatural, with like just like an unnatural cosplay, fucking dye the eyebrows. Stop leaving the eyebrows brown or black or whatever their natural hair color is, because now everybody look ridiculous. Everybody just look like they have on cosplay. So with that being said, when I seen them scenes, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be hard for me to watch, because that's all I'm gonna be looking at. The simple fact is everything looked cheap and incomplete. Like you put on a costume and called it a day. So that's one thing, 2 things that I saw that
I will agree with that. But I feel like if we're gonna talk about cheap, the set didn't actually seem necessarily cheap either. The cheapest thing might be the CGI.
I believe that.
But it actually doesn't look entirely cheap, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Is that why the fight scenes I saw was done at night? Because they tried to hide the CGI.
So hear me out. I pointed that out too. they definitely used a decent amount of darkness to cover up certain things. Because when they were in light, you could tell a lot of what happened in the light was done intentionally in that way because they had to utilize light instead, right? So yeah, I will definitely say that's most likely why. But the CGI don't look bad. It's just it's CGI.
Yeah, I'm watching it next week so we can do a full deep dive discussion.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we do a Patreon one, but we can
hell no.
Drop it on the podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna do it on the next week. Is gonna be the topic of the show is gonna be One Piece for sure. One Piece live action. We got it. I should have done it this week. I wasn't thinking, but we got My Team Romantic Comedy Snafu, and we wasn't pushing that for this especially. So I know everybody else is talking about the One Piece. We're gonna be a week later, and we're gonna talk about it next week for sure, though. So please be excited for that with us. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to watch it. What is it? 8 episodes?
Yeah, it's 8. And hear me out.
Are they hour long?
About the first one was an hour and 4 minutes long. I think everyone after that was less. But what I wanted to say though is that it didn't feel like I was watching an hour long episode majority of the time. If that makes it feel better, because it actually felt like it was paced well, and it was extremely fast for the amount of One Piece that they're covering. So
okay, yeah, I'll check it out next week. So we'll touch on that more. Now, without further ado, this is the part. Like, if you join us on our My Team Romantic Comedy Snafu rewatch binge this week, this is Climax. So either you stick around for Climax, or you just fast forward towards the spoiler talk. But I will say this is the Climax part where we're going to talk all My Team Romantic Comedy Snafu Climax specifically. Tell I got notes. Mm-hmm. I got big notes, brother.
Let's get them.
At first, I'm like, I'm only going to touch on like the important stuff per episode. So base it off do it off a per episode basis and take a little bit of notes. But there are some stuff that didn't happen and there's some stuff that did. I'm gonna put it up to the camera so you can see that this is the top, and then I'm gonna just.
Okay, Polow.
All right. I'm gonna start. I fucking love this show. I'm gonna just start with generalities. I love this show. Yeah. It's just hashtag Montel is right. From season 1 to season 3, this is a perfect 10 out of 10 show for me. And again, this includes season 1. I know Tell feels different about season 1, but in its totality, this is an absolutely perfect show. Front to back, beginning, middle, end, perfect slice of life. Now, what's great about the slice of life is the way it starts to where it end up. Mm-hmm. And where it end up is it gives you proper closure without doing like shut off shit. So like when a couple get together, they actually get together and it just shuts off. We get a little bit of more of them a part of like a little bit progress within what happened when they became an item.
And then a continued resolution, essentially.
And a continued resolution, exactly. So that by far is what makes this show so perfect, which is what a lot of anime movies don't do, or slice of life don't do in general. It just don't give you the proper closure. So I think that is what makes this show so perfect. Characters, every single one of the characters I love. There's not a character I hated, even, to be honest. Yeah, I can't think of one. Mm-hmm. Everybody had their place. Everybody played their roles. It's generally just the greatest show one of the greatest shows of all time. And that's my general thoughts. Tell, what are your general thoughts? Sorry for talking so much.
Like I said, this really brought back the idea of I would like some uncertainty in a little bit of my slice of life now, because this level of the way they tackle things is phenomenal, especially after the developmental processes we have since season 1, and watching how the characters do things, even watching how what's her name, Yuigi Hara, whatever her name is, how she was recognized as like probably emotionally the most mature out of the 3 by the older sister. Some of these things and like how they address and approach the different personality types, I love it. And like I said, to touch on what Polow said, the fact that we get that continued resolution with the idea that yes, they got a resolution to what the overall or overarching story and relationship is, but the fact that they clearly have some kind of agreed or insinuated love for each other as a friend group. So that is a thing, right? And I love the progress of that. And hear me out. As I said, season 1 is I think it's great for when it gets really good, and it definitely benefits season 2 and season 3 100%, making this, is like I said, one of the best slice of life, my personal favorite slice of life, other than probably my personal favorite slice of life. The only thing is that and hear me out, we don't have to count this as a negative, but it's kind of negative. The fact that we got a resolution made me hate this season, because I was like, I want more now. Because hear me out, I remember initially watching it and feeling satisfied watching it and saying, okay, cool, I don't need any more. But after this rewatch, I'm like, man, I wouldn't mind getting one more season if they introduce, like, you know, a true, I don't even know what they can introduce. That's the thing. It's like, man, I like these characters so much. Especially, like I said, this main friend group, when it expands to, like, what is it? The eight of them, or however many are all together. That whole main friend group, I really want to see almost more. I wouldn't even mind taking a tangent in developing relationships outside of our main three. It's such a good show that it just makes me want more. I hate to say it, because I know I didn't want more before, but now I want more. It's
just like, and this is why Clannad is what it is for me, and why it still reigns supreme over this spectacular show. And I mean that with the utmost respect. Like, obviously, Clannad and my team is up there for me, both in terms of story quality, world, and characters. They're both equally up there for me, but Clannad reigns supreme to me because it's what they did within the show. It wasn't just around it, but they gave us that. They gave us that continuation, or the what could have beens, and the what could have beens were so important to what happened within that friend group in Clannad that it made that show just that much more special to me, because I got the opportunity to see my main character with the girl I liked more, or, you know what I'm saying, or a girl I didn't think he would work with, and how that played out. Like, it was, you know, those dream sequences, and when he was actually with the other girls, it was that's what made that so spectacular. But like you're saying, having something like that in my team romantic comedy Snafu, where it's just like seeing what they got going on the sides, would have been spectacular as well. It would have probably took this to 11 out of 10 or whatever. Yeah.
If it could have just been like a couple of OVAs.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And hear me out. And I'm not into this kind of I'm not necessarily into this, but even the head of the tennis team, I would like to see his stuff develop even, and just like, why all right, Hachimura, I see that you've gone past feeling uneasy around bro. So what's the resolution? Do we get him into something, or what's the growth? I want to see what their life even progresses to, like if they skipped, 10 years, and let's see what happens in 10 years.
I think we said that last time we watched this, but I couldn't.
I know, right?
I couldn't agree with you more.
I want it so much. It's too good to not ask for an encore. Almost is what exactly. That's how I feel.
So starting off with the start of Climax, man, I absolutely love
that could be the name.
I absolutely love how the realization of all the characters and how they understand that there's dim hopes for what they have going on, because at the end of season 2, we talked about it last week, they realized the situation that they were in. All the characters have. Now that's Yui understanding that Yui always liked Hachiman, and Yukino knew that. So they're like, okay, this is weird now, because we both love this same guy and we both love our friendship. How would this work now? Because where do we go? And this is not nobody being clueless about the situation. Everybody understanding exactly how each other feels in this particular situation. So they're like, yo, let's break this shit apart and let's see where it goes from there. And that's that realization. It was crazy. Now, one of the most important quotes in episode 1 was if it isn't said out loud, then no one would get it. And the choices without hurting someone other than and there's like choices that he can make that would hurt everybody else other than himself, or the opposite, or him hurting everybody around him and without hurting himself. It was a deep episode. And also what I put in these notes is that I put Komochi is the best in episode 1. His little sister. His little sister is incredible. I fucking love how adorable she is.
She came through.
She was also like one of the most important characters in the entire show that just made it so homey.
She brought so she also, and this is one of those cool character interactions, she brought depth to Hachimon, right? And obviously Hachimon and vice versa, but like she brought depth to him because of that, not necessarily little sister complex, but we got to see a different kind of love from him. And that's what this whole show is about, right? This whole show is about that emotional expression of love and how you differentiate different loves, right? Obviously you got the sister, possible girlfriend, and a friend. And then you have just the overall friend group. This whole show is about how you foster those relationships. And subtly enough, the whole show though, you know what I mean? Because they've been growing relationships since season 1, and developing even Hachimon amongst those friendships is kind of how I'm seeing it.
I see.
But when you get to this season, even more so, because I feel like last season there was still somewhat of a decent amount of workload on Hachimon's back. But this time it was more, let's say, localized on the actual perspective on what they were doing, right? They really only had one goal, one main goal. This whole thing was to settle that, our job or the request and the prom. And I feel like we were able to see, that was on Hachimon's back, but it was also dispersed more because of his relationships that were fostered throughout the previous seasons. Because of
what he's done in previous seasons, to where
right.
everybody became, and fucking brilliant word was codependent on Hachimon to solve or to fix it his way and everything to be okay. But him being like the bottom of the stair, basically, and being stepped on and stepped over.
I'm telling you, and the fact that he's so okay with that, to constantly sacrifice himself is wild.
It's what hurt them, his friends, his close circle.
But the most important part, and are you going episode by episode?
So I do got one place I want to go.
Go ahead.
And I'm gonna ask this after I say mine. But I think number 4, because episode 2 not much, episode 3 not much, okay. But episode 4 I would consider to be the turning point.
Okay.
And we talked about this last week. We talked about this 2 weeks ago. Turning points within anime are big episodes that make drastic change within the entire field of where the world is progressing to, right?
Yeah.
So this is when Hikigaya and or Hachimon and Yui went shopping together. I think what was big about this is was Hiki discussing it with Hiki and Yui going shopping together, right? They go shopping together. He developed these feelings he didn't know he had for Yui, but him already knowing his situation and going through what he's going through, don't know how to wrap his head around it. The other part of this episode, it has so much. This episode 4 was crazy. The sister popped up, and that's when the codependency word popped up, and the entire fucking feel of the show changed because Hachimon completely understood where she was coming from, and I think that's what made the show change into what it ended up being in its totality at the end, right? Like, because you got Hikigaya in this episode calling it a love triangle when he was talking to her, and she's like, what do you call what you guys have? He's like, what, a love triangle? Like, that's the first time it's been said out loud. And he's like, and she's like, it's funny that you would say that, but it's not that. It's codependency. And that is what became kind of the moral of this and the rest of the season. Right. And what I would consider the turning point, because watching when when they called for and this was also when at the end of the episode when they called for Hikigaya to come back to help out Yukino, and he stopped what he was doing when he was walking home with Yui and ran to Yukino's aid. Basically, when Yui started crying, it fucking broke me. I cried. Okay, it wasn't a thug tear. It was like tears, 2 tears this time, rolling down my face. I'm like, fuck, this is hard. This is hard to watch because she knew that he wanted him to go. It was just like, it was so much depth within this episode that it was like overwhelming, to be honest. And my notes look completely fucking jumbled because of that. Because I'm like, oh shit. And it's just everything just happening one after another, and it was heavy. It was heavy on my heart.
Yeah,
episode 4 is definitely the turning point for me.
And I wish that I had written down exactly which episode it was, but hear me out for this, right? One of the major turning points, or I would consider a turning point, would be the conversation when they sat down with the mom, and Hachiman had to be there, obviously. But
was it the first time or the?
It was the first time in this season when they sat down to debate the prom.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I thought that was like episode 6 or something, like right around there.
Yes,
could be a little bit sooner, but regardless, the point I want to bring up is that it turned less into Yukinon trying to figure out her place, or not adjacently, but her place with her mom and within her family, to Hachiman is now a part of this battle, right? Now this is it turned into like almost, and we know what it is. It turned into like essentially a 3-way battle where we have 2 people trying to fight one overwhelming enemy, right?
Yeah.
Yukinon's mom being the presence that is.
She was awesome, by the way.
They're not going to be able to dominate and just exactly figure out what she needs. So they need to get multiple angles. I love how it was approached, because even though Hachiman had his plan and his idea, he, as they said, he continued to rely upon codependency to get his plan to work, which is amazing because it just goes to show that our character, even within that he needs to do things by himself, that he became codependent in the way that he did those things. Because like I said, or like we've said before, he tried to gather as many people as he could who wasn't already helping Yukinon and whatnot to get his plan to work alongside hers to force the situation. Yeah. And you know, they came out on top regardless, but I love that it turned into a battle against the mom in which he ended up gaining that respect from her. And it's funny enough because his way is almost more acceptable for the mom than like what Yukino or Yukinon does. His way is most likely exactly what the mom realistically probably does, because it's a more adult way to sacrifice yourself instead of sacrifice the whole, which idealistically Yukinon is trying to do the opposite, but it's a beautiful correlation because that's exactly what Yukinon doesn't necessarily want.
Yeah, because even still after it was all said and done, she realized like it couldn't happen without him. So she still feel like it was dependent on him, which made her think like this, I'm miserable. I can't do anything without him. And then that sparked a whole nother chain of events, i.e. him basically confessing, to be honest, which was by far the fucking rizziest, as the kids say, smoothest love confession ever made in anime history, in my opinion. I don't think there's ever been anything done better. But he's like, listen, I'm going to take you and how difficult you are, no matter what. Like that confession it sent chills down my spine. It was so fucking good. I fell in love with Hachiman, goddammit.
Subaru did it better, but
that's Cap.
I'm a Cap then.
That's big Cap. You mean Rim did it better?
That's true. It's true. Rim did it better.
Rim definitely did it better.
Rim did it better. That's what I meant. I ain't meant Subaru.
But no, it was pretty good though. It was top 2. Top 2 for sure.
Yeah.
I will say my favorite characters end up obviously being a teacher. I said that every fucking week. The fact that in episode 12, she called back to episode 1 of the entire series, fucking again sent chills down my spine. Because what she did was she pointed out to not only the viewer, but to Hachiman. I'm sorry, I said that backwards. Not only to Hachiman, but to the viewer, the growth within Hachiman throughout this entire run of events, right? So he's not, from moment one, he would write that paper where youth is a lie, right? Or all this shit that he would say that it's like counterintuitive to who he is now at that particular moment when he was talking to her at the end. It was above all the best way to put a capstone on this entire thing. It was him and his stubborn ways about youth and not wanting to be a part of the typical youth of a child because it doesn't matter. It's right. Unimportant. Or working with others or getting friends or being a part of a group. It's all negative. All of that she basically threw in his face again, like, you still feel that way, huh? And then him hearing that back now is embarrassing. It's just, that's what made season 1 just as good as season 2, just as good as season 3, because it had those very important moments into character development that made Hachiman to who he is right now.
And let's even touch on that a little bit more, right? Because you brought up the teacher. I think that all the adults in this show are some of the most important characters in the entirety of the show. And hear me out, because they all present to our cast of characters a level of realism, because they all have very different perspectives that are realistically literally utilized within the real world. Like I said, the teacher, she's doing exactly what teachers should do, but she's doing it in a hands-off, hands-on approach.
Real quick. Sorry, I don't want to forget this. She was the water to Haruno's fire, right? Like they were both accomplishing the same thing with these 3 group of kids. Haruno doing it the fire way, which is aggressive, mean, and to the point, poignant. And the teacher was doing it the water way, the getting them together in the first place and assisting them with whatever they need to do with this club and making sure that they understand that your goal is to help as many people as you possible together, or whoever helps the most people wins this challenge. And it's just such a perfect fucking dichotomy of teeter totter back and forth between the teacher and Haruno. Those two were absolutely special. Sorry, go ahead.
And like I said, you're exactly right. And I think they all presented, like I said, a different level of realism. The teacher was letting him figure it out hands on, hands off. Yes. She was doing exactly what a mentor, a teacher should do, in terms of letting him develop, but also not letting him develop in the wrong way by not having any input, challenging his perspective while allowing his perspective to be right for him. Dope, super fire character.
I got chills.
Haruno, presenting the realism in the sense of it's
the real world, practically.
It's practically, but letting him she's telling him that there's opposition, telling him that I like you for the way you handle things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone else will, that you are still going to have to push past and you're going to have to see something more, that what you see now is just the surface level, that you need to see deeper. And telling him that he's wrong without telling him that he's wrong. You know what I mean? She's just straight up like, that's not going to work, and no one's going to see it that way, or at least the people you need to impress are not going to see it that way. And he starts to develop that perspective. And then we get to like the mom, who her level of realism is literally just the direct opposition. She is the opposition. She is the mountain to overcome. And she's not directly attacking him, and she wasn't sent to directly attack him, but that did not make her a mountain that he had to surmount. It was amazing to the fact that they introduced him to the life of an adult and proper problem solving while letting him develop and grow. This is partially why it's so amazing, because you can literally look at those 3 people as lessons in themselves.
Big ones too. The mother, and then the Hachiman's realization that he's not, at the end, when he was doing that final prom, right, to basically help him get closer to Yukino, or to help Yukino become more independent by going against his mom. That his inner monologue when he was talking about the mom isn't the villain here. That's not who I'm going against. I'm going against Yukino. I'm trying to get her to want to do this herself so that we can do this together, no matter how challenging it is, so she could prove that to herself and to her mom that she could do it, even if it seems impossible. And that was just that was when I knew that he had to just be with her. No matter the outcome, he wanted to be with her because he was willing to do whatever he could to help her move past her obstacle or to save her as she so desperately asked in previous seasons. It was beautiful.
Now, don't come for my neck when I say this, right? Because I'm gonna say this, and I just need you to hear me out when I say this.
I'm ready to say you're wrong.
Okay.
I don't even know what it is, but
I'm ready for you to say I'm right. All right, you ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Hachiman Hikigaya and Wataru Sajo from The Dreaming Boys Are Realist are basically the same character. And I say that specifically because of the episode that released this week. He turned into a Hachiman esque character, but I say that they're the same character only in the sense of in the current positions that they are in, they separate themselves from the situation and try and solve the problem. But the way that they actually view and help others is actually extremely similar. I'm not saying they're the exact same character, but they give me very essentially similar vibes and how they carry out actions. And I think that might be part of the reason why we like the Dreaming Boys Are Realist so much in terms of how that character acts. But this character archetype, as we've said before, is literally the best.
Because it's realistic, right? It's more grounded in the reality that we recognize. Because it's a lot of people have these internal dialogues. Like a lot of people get into these situations that you don't necessarily know how to handle the situation, or you think you know how to handle the situation. You handle it a certain way, which isn't the right way, right? Mm-hmm. Like we've all been there before. So it's like we feel these ones. Now I will say you're wrong. They're not even close. And I'm going to say not even close only because of the simple fact is that just Hachiman is so observant while our other guy, which I forget his name, isn't. he's just naturally helpful, if you will, but he's not as observant when it comes to the surroundings or situations or just feelings in general. He's just more like, I'm just an NPC character, but I'm going to help out the best I can without, overstepping, if you will.
Well, and I also want to throw in the fact that I don't mean like they're exactly the same, but I do think that if you put them in similar positions, right?
Yes.
Hachiman is very much so willing to say, we don't have to be together. As he said, I just want to help you, get where you need to go. I want to be there to be your backup when you need backup. Whereas Wataru Sajo is very much willing to do the same exact thing. And I mean that they are selfless in the sense of who they care for, they will do whatever for, essentially regardless or irregardless of whatever the situation may be. So that's what I mean, is that these characters are very much so driven by that that sense of like loyalty and obligation almost.
Absolutely. Very great characters, but Hachiman just has it. Okay.
10 out of 10 character.
Closing thoughts on Climax. Climax specifically, and I guess that would include the series as a whole. I think he made the right choice. I love the fact that we started off not being on the side of Yukino to fall in love. Me personally, I fell in love with Yukino just as much as I loved Yui. I loved Yui the entire time. Yukino, I grew to love, which I then feel more in the place of Hachiman. I feel compelled to agree with his decision because just like him, it was the first person he was involved with, in the entire show. It wasn't Yui. Yui's been there, like they've been in the same class, but untouched, right? Like they didn't even talk at all because she was too busy faking a funk with those cool kids and trying to pretend to be cool with them other than being with Hachiman. So for me, the growth with Yukino that started from zero to where we are now, it was the right choice.
Right.
While I think back then I was a little bit different on that feeling, I think. I don't remember.
You always been Yukino, from what I can remember. Okay.
So sentiment still stands. She's the best for him in this particular situation, even though I think he should have been with the teacher. I would have been with the teacher.
Yeah, in 10 years, bro. She's grown.
So, that's just me. But when the teacher said I love you, it melted my heart. Sorry. So
she had to confess, huh? She too old for this.
Yeah.
If that had been a man, it'd been mad creepy.
It probably would have. Wait, you on to something? He was a year. No, he wasn't. They still had a year left.
So, they was going through their last year.
Mm-hmm.
As a total, this show is amazing. I think the show as a whole is damn near a 10 out of 10. If it's not, it's like a 9.9 point. It's like a 9.99 out of 10 because it's hard to not give it a 10. I love these characters. I don't think I like Yukino the best. But I did go to like her more. But I don't know if I like Yui more than Yukino either. It's so hard to pick still. And I say that specifically for me because I agree, right? Where Yui was too busy to act like she really cared versus Yukino, we kind of got this unraveling effect from her to where it felt like an actual development and blooming of a relationship. Where
when it was season 2, when she realized what he did to himself hurted her so much, that was for me. I'm like, I get it. Like her growth is insane.
And then her actual confession was much better than Yui's.
Yes.
It was so much better because she literally just straight up said, "I really love you," and I was like, "Oh, okay, yep. I'm sorry, you lost," because she said it outright, just like straight up. Yeah. Ain't no in between, ain't no guessing. It was straight up like, "I love you." It wasn't no I'm in my head dreaming about it. It wasn't here's no cookies. It was I love you, and I was like, "Yep." Sometimes that's what you need to hear is exactly that.
And I said this on Twitter, but that voice acting, that cast was incredible, man. I can't put into words how they made me feel this entire show. The way that Yukina's voice, when she opened up more, when she became more open within herself, just gave me this sense of security with her, right? Yui was always the same. But when Yui was emotional, it hurt my fucking heart. Like every single time I wanted to cry when she was crying, she was so good at just emotionally. Like her mom, Yui's mom was incredible too.
I loved her. I meant to bring her up too because she also presented a different lesson.
She definitely did. She was so sweet. She was just spectacular, and the way she held Yui, it killed me too. But the voice cast was incredible, man. Incredible. Did you know Adam Gibbs played Sid in Shadow, in the Eminence in Shadow?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. So now I want to go back and rewatch that dub because that probably sounds fire.
I remember when we was looking at him, it was probably not last week, but the week before, something like that. I clicked on his name and it showed up. So
yeah, how dope would it be if we got him on the show, bro?
Tell him to say what's up. Hey, yo, come start through.
God, that'd be so sick. Okay. All right, let's do a recommendation roulette. I'll roll the random number generator this week.
Do it.
And we are going to recommend an anime based off of the year we get from this random number generator. Let's do it. 2000. Wait, what year did we start off with? I got to redo that. Do we go from 2008?
Yeah, you can do 2008.
Okay, 2013.
I feel like we get 2013 every year, bro. Every week.
Oh no, it's Big Cap. Yeah, we do. We definitely do.
Yeah, because Golden Time is on here again.
Yeah, I gotta roll again. 17. That's one we haven't gotten.
There we go.
We definitely got 13 last week. That's the crazy part.
I'm telling you, every single week. All right. Black Clover, best anime that ever exists.
Stop talking to me. hated that so much I can't do it again. There's a Monogatari series that I didn't watch.
I was gonna say, can I recommend a movie? And it was gonna be the Monogatari movie.
I can't wait to get to this movie.
It's so good. It's so fucking good.
Okay, I got mine.
Yeah, that's what Kiss shot. Oh, she went crazy. That's such a good movie. All right. What you got, bro?
There's a lot of good shit that came out 2017, actually, when you really look at it. But I'm gonna go with Recovery of an MMO Junkie.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a pretty funny show. Very 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 funny show. I'm gonna just go with that.
So I want to go with the Monogatari movie that I just saw, because I don't feel like I see enough Monogatari talk in general. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with the Monogatari, Kizu Monogatari Part 3, Reikitsu. Watch Monogatari is in general, because as Polow said, it's great.
Absolutely great. I gotta remember what order I was in, man. Fuck.
Yeah. Did you marked it on AnyList, didn't you?
Yeah, but I don't.
Yeah, it's jumbled, and you trying to watch it in what, the chronological order?
No, I'm watching it in the order that in which it released.
Okay, yeah. Well, this movie is phenomenal. This movie is actually what made me get into it, because when I looked it up, just like Polo, and it said it doesn't matter where you start because this movie is like kind of out of order, and I was like, all right, cool. This is actually where I started the Monogatari series, and it's what made me go back and watch more of it.
I'm gonna tell y'all now, the best order to watch it, and this is coming from personal experience already, is the order it released. So whichever year was first, just follow the order in which it released. Because what happens is the way everything ties together as you watch it feels much more you feel
linear.
Accomplished, right? Like, oh, that's from that and that's from that. It's an experience I cannot recommend enough. It's so good.
I agree, because that's essentially what I did. Once I watched this, I went back in order.
In the order in which it released, not in any other order, I would say. So, yeah. All right, we're gonna take this quick break, and when we come back, we are going to spoil Jobless Reincarnation and Rent a Girlfriend. That is going to be, if I can remember, episode 10 of Jobless Reincarnation. And episode 8 of Rent a Girlfriend. Excuse me. We'll be right back after this.
Sweet.
And welcome back to episode 218 of Mic Check Wife. We were about to spoil episode 10 of Jobless Reincarnation. Starting this episode was titled The White Mask. This episode was crazy, Tell.
Yeah.
Seriously crazy, because for those of you that don't remember, this episode we met up with the girl who was walking with the dragon god. And we found out exactly what he suspected all along, was that she was from Japan, because she was Japanese when she took off her mask when they first met in season 1. But she was the top student in this high school basically this entire time. And when he met her, it was he freaked the fuck out, PTSD style, for obvious reasons.
Very reasonable. It's very reasonable, first off.
Very reasonable.
And I think it's also interesting to find out that essentially they both came to this world differently.
But at the same time, which is what he didn't let her know. Because he said during this episode was a girl with her face was about to get hit by a truck before he intervened or whatever.
Yeah, but how'd they come at the same time if she's only been here for 5 years and he's been here for his whole life? He's lived a whole new life here. Because
she was about to be hit by a truck.
And I know. I get the proposition of that. I'm just saying, like, man, I guess like
So what you're saying is that, because you made a valid point, but because she was about to be, she got summoned, and at the same time that she got summoned, he got reincarnated because he died from that same truck.
Yeah, so I get that, time difference. Obviously, they can make however much difference they want. I just thought it was cool in general that they both came differently, because they also have different utilizations for the world, right?
Yeah.
Because we found out from her she has no magic or mana, whereas Rudy has all of it,
an abundance of it.
Right. But does that also mean, because what kind of threat does that make her? Is she actually a threat? What was she, what was the full purpose for her summoning? Which, I mean, obviously there's going to be more information on that to come, but I mean, she overall just presents even more questions. How much does Orstat really know?
Right. Yeah.
How much does Body Gotti know?
We got nothing on him this week, and it's crazy. Even I forgot that we didn't get anything from Body Gotti this week, because of this episode basically for the most part took place in that one area, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously you got everything that happened at the beginning where the princess was like, yo, why haven't you told him, Rudius? Which is a question that I've been asking myself for what feels like decades. Like, why the hell haven't you just said anything? And it's because she's scared that you won't remember who she is, which is not the fucking case, clearly. But
she won't know until she asks. But yeah, even that, even getting to see Sylphie act the way she did, finding out that the teleportation may have been the fault of the girl, and seeing how she instantly just went haywire. She was furious, right? Which, within reasonable explanation, we understand why. And then,
why are you so calm?
Yeah, they talk about, hear me out. They talk about, she said, I know you suffer. You know what I mean? How do you know I suffered? Because I told you I suffered, but you said I suffered. So that means that you feel like, or you're implying that you know something more. And to me, I think that Rudius needs to be, at this point, Rudius is smart enough to have caught on to something like that.
We got to put into perspective the teleportation event for those of you who may have forgot. Okay. The teleportation event teleported an entire continent of people, a city of people, to random places around the world. That is so baffling to me. Like, I can't even imagine just basically fucking Chicago being teleported around just everybody in Chicago being teleported around the world.
Right.
Not in one particular area. Everybody separated from their families, like in just different places. Me and you are in Texas right now. If the entire state of Texas get teleported just around the world, you could be in Japan and I will be in Europe or Iceland or Antarctica or some shit. We live in Texas. Like Sylphie and Rudius teleported at the same time in the same area. And Rudius got sent to the demon continent and she got sent to Arius, I think it's called, or Arius Empire or something like that, across the other half of the world. So, and she said that I'm the cause of it. Sylphie flipping out completely reasonable for that particular reason. Like she's like, yo, my mom and dad or everybody that I ever loved are just gone.
Right.
Because of this shit. You mean to tell me it was you?
I deserve to throw hands, but it's also reasonable to understand that just because it was her fault doesn't mean that she wasn't a victim of the circumstance. Right. And that's what always brings to light.
Yeah.
Because even, and hear me out, even though she said that she may have been the cause, we still don't know in totality, in definity, that it is definitely her that was the cause. We know that we don't know what the teleportation circles could have actually caused, and we don't know if Rudius's spell wasn't the catalyst. You know what I mean?
I was just about to say that. I was just about to say, can I punch you in the gut real quick?
Go ahead.
I think that the teleportation circle was to summon somebody from a different world. Rudius injected mana into this teleportation, which destabilized the teleportation portal and caused
or activated.
No, because it was already activated. It was already activated, so it was already cast from. It was because it was at the top of the sky, right? It was in that floating island, so it was already cast, and then Rudius magic destabilized it, which in turn caused them to combine it and rewrite this spell in its entirety and turn it into something more because of his massive mana pool. I think personally.
Well, that makes sense. I was thinking that you were going to say that his spell, like I said, being the catalyst. Think of it, I guess this way, is that because he's from Japan and he cast a spell, that maybe they just drew somebody from his specific. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm only thinking about it in the aspect of what they mentioned this episode, because she mentioned like she needs a massive amount of mana.
And he has a massive amount of mana.
So I'm thinking that massive amount of mana that he injected within that spell he was casting is what caused it to.
Weather spells or king level spells or something like that.
Yep.
So we know
God
that
level, actually.
Yeah. Either way, he cast it and things started changing. Yep. So I agree with that. I think that but I definitely think that his magic in some way was a catalyst.
100%.
And Sylphie will not be so as upset if she found out it was Rudius's fault. And
that's you got my mind turned. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but yes, Sylphie will not be as upset if she finds out it's Rudius's fault, because she'll be way more understanding of it was an accident. But like we keep talking about, why hasn't she said anything yet? And they keep giving us little things. He said this feels so familiar in this episode when he's getting his head rubbed. So it's almost like,
yeah. I'm going back to the teleportation thing again.
Go ahead.
Real quick. She was the reason, meaning they did it for her for whatever reason. Maybe it was to teleport her back to it, right? And then Rudius casted oh my God. Then he casted the God level spell of weather change, right? Which injected all the mana into the teleportation, which turned it into something else. So they're both, like when Rudy said, I'm glad it wasn't me that was the cause. It was both of them together. Both of them together is what caused that event to happen. That's why the man got sent into that school so he can see her. That's why oh my God, everything is just, it's so fucking crazy how deep this goes. And I think that's exactly what happened. I truly do. Because while whoever was the person casting that circle to bring that girl, or to either bring that, wait, brain blast, Jimmy Neutron. She said she'd been there for 5 years. How long has it been since the teleportation?
5 years. We can imagine Rudius is about 17 to 16 years old now.
And he was about 11 when it happened.
11 or 12, like right about that puberty where he would be considered a man almost.
That's it, bro. That's it. They're both the reason for it. It all makes sense now. I'm blown back. I literally did think about that episode. Well, obviously I thought when he said, I'm glad it wasn't me that was the reason for it, or he's relieved, and that's why he wasn't as upset. Because this entire time he thought it was because of his God level spell, but in reality, while it wasn't necessarily the reason, it's both her reasons for being teleported, which whoever did that is mainly at fault there, and his obscene amount of mana being injected into it. This fucking show is crazy. This is deeper than I thought, man. This is way deeper than I thought. All right, what you got? Like you was looking something up.
Oh no, I was looking at what the level of that spell was, because it's saying cumulonimbus is king ranked magic, so I'm not sure.
Okay,
I imagine
is king the highest?
No, I know there's a god ranked, but yeah, king is like where there are people in the continent or country or in the world that can cast king level. God level, I think they explained that basically no one can cast God level. Like the only people that can cast king level is like 1 or 2 people. So for him to be able to do God level, I think it's the highest.
And I do think it was a God level amount of mana injected. That's just my theory. Yeah. Maybe it was a king level spell with God level mana injected. That's what I mean.
Because God ranked is continental level devastation on the elemental scale.
Exactly what I'm thinking is what he was doing when he was casting it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I need to rewatch season 1 again.
Yeah. So what he did was he was creating a storm, which is saint level, and summoning lightning at the same time. So basically, he became the water king level, whatever. But he's emperor king level spell. That's what it is. So that's what it is. Which what he did was way above that. So yes, the moral of the story, he was casting magic he shouldn't have been casting because he's too strong.
At the same time, something like the teleportation was happening.
Right. Can't cast water level magic. Can't cast water magic if you a god mode. Don't do that.
Yeah. Fucking crazy, man. It's deep. But again, what I was saying at the start of the episode was that what this episode did that was so impressive was they smoothly integrated the language switch, because this entire time you're speaking a language native to this world, right? Or one of the languages native to this world. So this entire time that they've been talking through the entire show has been this particular language. Then when we go after he has his PTSD meltdown moment to somebody who actually is from Japan, she starts speaking Japanese to him, which then in turn takes the foreign language that they've been speaking this whole time and make that a foreign language. So we got Saber, stop it. So we got that foreign language that Sylphie knows, that Rudius knows, that this girl know, all being spoken in like at different times. So it was just so well done that I'm like, yo, this is it's beautiful to hear somebody speaking a fake language, obviously, while Japanese is being spoken, and then it made you understand the situation that was going on. Like, yo, they're speaking to each other, and Sylvie's being left out completely out of this conversation, not really understanding what the fuck is going on. It's because they never heard anything like this before in their lives. Not even like if you from here, right? We know English. If we hear somebody speaking Spanish, we know that's Spanish, right? So for Sylphie, she's speaking their native language, if she hears somebody speaking a demon tongue from a demon continent, she know that that's the demon language. You are speaking something completely foreign to that world entirely. Right. So that's like a language that's lost to us. Somebody's just speaking that, like fucking just completely gone. It doesn't exist anymore. And like, how awkward is that feeling, right? Like, but that was so cool. I just love the way they did that. It was super impressive.
And to even expand on that even more, they did that in season 1. When Rudy is learning the language, they had it, and it's funny how they do it. they actually like made him sound like he was speaking like some kind of babble, like he didn't know what he was saying. And then he transitioned. And it was when he went from like, when he was trying to understand the original language while he was speaking Japanese, and he switched over to that native language, and it entirely sounded like Japanese. So they did like that transitionary thing where the sound just melded together and now it's Japanese. Yeah. Really cool. I think they do a great job in this anime in general, especially when it comes to the details. Like you said, they pay so much attention to detail that it makes it beautiful.
Yeah, because he was like, let's speak into, the native tongue when he was talking to her in Japanese. So that Sylvia understands. And then when she swapped, it just swapped over to the normal language or Japanese that we've been accustomed to this entire time. So right. Good, extremely important detail in the show that no other show would ever do. You know what this makes me think about, and I should have mentioned this at the first half of the show, is like how not great a lot of like fantasy shows really are, right? So for example, or other isekai in itself, other fantasy isekai, like your sleeper is so good in parts, man. Like in certain parts it's so good, and then it just falls apart out of nowhere. Like and it happens so it's so inconsistent that it stresses me out, because I know the parts that are good. And I was talking about this with Rob J. He was like, it just hasn't been good for him. But I just know that's not true. Like it's parts of it that's fantastic. And when you take those parts and say it for me.
Compartmentalize
those parts in the show, it's when you put them together, it's a nice show. Like when it's structured, right? And everything. But when it goes off these tangents or half episodes where it's just bullshit, and then they put little very important fight pieces in, like it stresses me out, because I know the show is actually good if it just done right, If it's stuck to the program. Yeah. Thank you. What a brilliant way of saying it. If it just stuck to the program. But it's just Jobless Reincarnation just puts shows like that to shame. It even puts shows like Sword Art to shame. And in retrospect, like when you think about it, like at a level of just pure structure, I don't think nothing beats it. I can't think of anything that can, to be honest. Yeah, I got nothing. Isekai wise, obviously.
I can think of competing, but yeah, entirely in its structure is hard. Yeah. Yes.
The only thing competing is ReZero, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Only thing. And I think ReZero is just a better situation because of its dramatic flair, right? Like the drama within ReZero is so stressful. It evokes so many emotions that are just unfathomably like it's just great. Like I don't ever feel as much emotion as I do when I'm watching ReZero for anything else, right? Like that's the most emotion I feel in anything. So that's why it's obviously the number one for us, but this is close. This is very close.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Isekai wise, I have to make that clear. I'm not talking about in general anime in its entirety, just the isekai genre. All right, moving on. We're in the girlfriend. Your episode of the week.
Clearly a very phenomenal episode, but this episode is a lot. A lot to, as Polow would say, compartmentalize.
Or can't say, because I can't say that word for shit.
The issue with this show, in this episode specifically, is almost like this is getting us to that climax. I know we just talked about my teen romantic comedy, but this is getting us to that climax. And I say that for the sole purpose of we knew going into this season that the film is being produced for the purpose of her mom or her grandma being able to see it before she passes. Because we know that she has no more family after this. So...
God, more chills.
They kick us in our fucking gut. they gut check us because this was not on my bingo list for this yet.
No. When it happened, my mouth was to the floor, bro.
Yeah, this is not on my bingo list, especially considering how good things seemed like they were. Essentially,
Yeah.
It seemed like her grandma was okay, and to understand that she was probably actually struggling through this entirety of seeing everything, knowing that she might not get to make it to that day to see it, so she's just in pure awe of the moment that she can have before she gets there, and even her own recollections of like saying her past fiance was right. It's just husband. Yeah, he died. Or yeah, husband. Her past husband passed is right. In terms of like motivating her, it's crazy. Chizuru deserves all the love in the world right now. It was breaking my heart, bro. How do you feel about this episode?
Yeah, same, man. It literally, it surprised me because, again, like you said, I wasn't fucking expecting. There's no way in hell I thought that she was gonna pass out from, just being out in general. And what it did to me was it made me feel like she was at peace and ready to go. Like,
exactly.
It was too soon. Like, you're not. We're right there. We're right at the finish line. Just, and for us to possibly lose her is sad. But what really got to me and what I didn't like was the timing of him saying, let's tell her the fucking truth. Like, for one, Chizuru don't even, what I got from this and what I think the progress is what we were both kind of referring to. And now tell me if I'm wrong after I say this, but the progress was her basically saying, like, I don't want to tell her for the fact that it's a lie and lie to her. I don't want to tell her because I don't want it to not be true. And that's what I think that I got from her when she was like saying no, or this is a terrible idea, or she was so against it because of the fact that she's kind of okay with them being a thing now.
And to add to that, before the collapsing, it almost felt as if we were getting to that point. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I'm this moment is kind of bittersweet for the fact of it's going to force, right? Like I said, it's kind of like the ultimatum, where now that it's been said, they have to come up with a decision. Either A, they tell her, hey, we're not a couple, or B, they say, let's really be together. What do you really want? And this is almost the most adult thing they've done this entire anime. It's the most adult thing they've done. Yeah, he's done. This is the most adult situation, experience-wise for me, that I've seen in this specific show. And the thing is that what was really getting to me is the moment he got to spend with the grandma before she had her collapse, and how she just showed him that utter joy and appreciation for him, and she saw her relationship in them.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like I need him to have some backbone too, right? And I mean, like, backbone. You gotta tell the other girls, if you're gonna be with Chizuru, Ichinos, or whatever,
to back off.
Back off. This is what it is. Ruki, or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, shorty. Let's go ahead and cut this short.
Ruki-chan is fucking annoying.
She's only annoying because the fact that he is so indecisive is his fault.
100%. You're right.
She's saying what she wants. He's not. He is not. He is basking in this glory, but not basking in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like,
so,
did she forget that this is a trial girlfriend type of situation?
She definitely forgot, but I think that it's not really about that, because I think she understands. But I think she's trying to push those boundaries as much as she can, specifically for the purpose of, that's what she's trying to secure the bag that she wants. But for Ichinos, it's breaking my heart, because it's like, bro,
it's just an obstacle.
It's an obstacle, and it's almost like everybody else understands this. Because we ain't even seen Mami-chan, and I thought she would have been showing up and gave us a headache, but she ain't even showing up, and I'm kind of cool with that.
Me too. And it's so much. Like, how many? It's episode 9 next week in 4 days. It's 12 this season, so I don't know where this is going. And what I mean by that is, I don't know what Mami-chan was plotting, because she was plotting something at the end of season 2 that is just non-existent right now. So could this be the moment that she either show up and like tries to expose him, or
it could be, but if whatever she does is going to be so tasteless for her to interject herself that everyone's going to hate her.
Everybody's going to look at her like, what are you talking? He's not even with her. He's with Ruka, you know, like but she may also be another catalyst to push things forward. Like I said, if she comes through, especially for this moment, it could be like, you know, she's just a rental girlfriend, right? She's like, I am, but I fucking love him because he's an amazing person. And I think that you're garbage. You should stop treating him this way. And he doesn't need to see you anymore. And then it's like, boom. And he's like, you know what? I didn't know you felt that way about me. That's my gut check, basically. I would fucking love that. But I think my gut check is that he's going to go in. They're going to attempt to confess. She's going to stop him for other reasons, pull him outside, have this conversation with him. Like, I don't want to do this. Reason why? Because I love you. Probably not going to happen, but that a man can dream, you know? A man can dream. Because I would love to have the rest of the season being how he handles the situation, right? Like accepting her love and trying to be something more while letting other girls down and just kind of cleansing up. Then Mami-chan comes in like, hey, are you still going to be with this girl? And she's like trying to expose him in front of all his friends. Like, she's actually not real. She's just a rental. And then they end up telling her off like, hey, stupid bitch, it's actually my girl. You know, exactly. You know, like I would love that. I would love that.
Ichino's coming to his defense.
Right. It'll be, that's what I want. That's just Polo's dream too.
Yeah, I think it's our dream.
True. I'm at Polow Born Fly on all social media.
I'm at King Teliano on all social media.
You can follow our social medias at Mike Check Waifu on X and at Mike Check Waifu on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. And as always, Mike Check.
You're now tuned into Mike Check Waifu. Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you?